Hey there folks, welcome back to the I Am CDB project. Of course, I'm your host CDB, you're not. And today we're going to do a head shave with Stirling R4L, which is Responders for Life. It is a Tom Ford Gray Vetiver type scent. And this is a soap where the proceeds or the profit goes to charity. So please check it out at Stirling if you get a chance. It's for the Responders for Life charity to raise money for that organization, which is a nice organization meant to help the first responders and their families and so forth. This, by the way, will be a head shave. Go and see the face shave if you want to see me talk in detail about this soap and aftershave. Today we're just going to do a head shave and just talk about current events and what's going on. I'm going to use the Defender with a fresh blade. And again, last week, if you missed it, I did another comparison between Harry's and Defender, and the result that I came to was the Defender's, is an efficient razor that will get you there quicker with less effort. The Harry's is a little smoother, so it depends on what you want. If you're looking for super smooth, I say go with Harry's. If you're looking for, if you value, a quick, efficient shave that really gets those difficult spots easier, then you might want to consider the Defender. Both are very good carts in my estimation if you happen to be a cart shaver. I know a lot of people are for their heads, like me. Primarily I use carts. Sometimes on the weekends or throughout the week I'll go ahead and use a DE, but I end up having to touch it up with a cart. So I'm, whether I use a DE or not, I end up, there's just places DE don't get well despite my best efforts, and so therefore I primarily use carts because it's all about using whatever's best. And this is a fine soap, by the way. Again, go back and check out that video today, face shaving video on that, and you will see how that went, and it was quite good. Okay, I always, or typically I always get around my ears first, because you can get sloppy and cut your ears, and I have certainly done that, and it is no fun. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that Senator John McCain, of course, passed away last week, and whether or not you agreed with his politics or the way he voted on things, I think we can all agree he was really a hero for his service, long time in the Senate, and of course his military service. He was shot down during the Vietnam War and kept as a POW for 5 years, and even when he had a chance to be released because his father, I believe, was an admiral in the Navy, he stayed because he refused to leave if all the other prisoners of war were not also released, and so he endured punishment and torture beyond belief for 5 years. And for that alone, he always has and had my respect. The reason I bring it up is because it was interesting the way the media covered it, because I'm not too old to remember when John McCain ran for president in 2008. And I remember the press, a lot of the press weren't particularly kind to him. But yet, when he passed away last week, they were falling all over themselves to talk about how great he was and how angry they were at Trump because, Trump didn't immediately lower the flags, which he should have done to half-staff. Anyway, I remember when John McCain was running and the media was bringing up things like his affairs and, the fact that he had married a rich woman and Cindy McCain and slinging, dirt and really not giving him respect for his service, both in the Senate and in the military. And when, they seemed to, at the time, favor Barack Obama, who had just had 2 years, I believe, in the Senate and really not much in the way of experience. And yet they were quite favorable in their coverage of Barack Obama, because I think he was very charismatic. you know, when he spoke, he is a tremendous public speaker, Barack Obama, and obviously very bright, you know, and powerful political force. He had little to no experience, and he became president of the United States. And so the only reason I bring it up is because watching the coverage was just so different. I understand you don't speak ill, you know, of the dead. And so it's the tendency of people to always say good things about folks who have passed, and they should. But it was so interesting because they were attacking Trump, who I've said before on this channel, I did not vote for. I did not vote for Hillary nor Trump. I couldn't, you know, neither were acceptable to me. I voted for a third-party candidate. But at any rate, the media, all the same folks who were criticizing him and really hitting him with nothing but barbs during his presidential campaign run, were falling all over themselves to talk about how great he was and you know, how bad it was that Trump didn't immediately lower the Flagstaff staff, which I agree with. But it's just funny because sometimes you can just tell the media, you know, they slant heavily in one direction or the other, and then now they're crying because Trump happens to hit them back at every opportunity. Now, he goes overboard, to be fair, because, you know, the media is not the enemy of the American people. I don't believe that at all. But a lot of times they do slant one way or the other. And you just sort of have to take that into consideration. By the way, this is a fantastic razor and soap. This soap smells great. And if you didn't come here to hear about politics today, I'm sorry. But sometimes I just talk about stuff that's on my mind. And remembering that 2008 campaign was something that was on my mind. Also, I read that Sarah Palin was not invited to the funeral, which I thought was in poor taste. Whether or not you like Sarah Palin or think she was informed on the issues, she did run as his running mate, and they lost. And you know, I guess he blames her for losing or whatever, but she was not invited at all. And I thought that was a little bit petty, quite frankly. But then again, it was his funeral, and he has every right to invite whomever he wished. And so, you know, certainly had every right to do it. I just thought it was, you know, she was his, you know, partner for the better part of a year in terms of campaign. And he didn't, the media report I read that she was not invited. Now, if that's not true, you can always correct me, but I just thought that was a little small. You know, that's the time where you bring people together, and he certainly had a lot of people speaking well of him, and he deserved it. I don't agree with everything he did, but you don't have to. Rarely do we agree with everything that everybody does, you know, whether it be your family members or your wife or your husband or whatever it is that you have, significant other. So you shouldn't really measure how you feel about folks by how often you agree with them. But I think he was, you know, he certainly provided a lot of service for this country, and I'm certainly grateful for that and honor him for that service. All right. I want to tell you, this soap is fantastic, and this razor really hits the spot. Right here is one of the spots for me that's extremely difficult. You can just never get it fully. By the way, without this residual slickness that the Stirling soap provides, this would be Irritation City, but because it has great residual slickness, I can just continue to hit these trouble spots and get that baby butt smooth shave. And if I could just get this one, no matter which angle I come at this one spot from, it's just difficult. That's all there is to it. But we've got it, and I tell you what, it's a great soap. Let me do a quick rinse the head. The face will come back and get to the post. Stay tuned. All right, and here we are back with the Magic Made by Witch's Thayers, and we'll throw some of that on the dome and the face, and let that set for just a second before we put on our aftershave today. Today I'm not going to take a shower right after the shave because I have some things to do, and then I'll shower after that. But let's do a quick summary of what we use. Stirling R4L Responders for Life, which is a collaboration with the South Florida Wet Shavers. Really nice soap. We used a RazoRock 400 synthetic, outstanding. And again, the Defender, if you want an efficient cart for head shaving, this bad boy is really good, and it really doesn't clog because of how far those blades are spaced out, or it doesn't clog as easily, I should say. Anything will clog if you really put it to the test eventually. And we're going to finish things off today with the Stirling R4L aftershave, which is that, again, that Tom Ford Grave Vetiver scent. It's very, very nice. And let us get a little bit out there and slap it on the dome. That feels great. Head is very, very smooth, and that's why I like using that Defender. It just works very, very well. And just like that, we are good to go for the day. I want to thank everyone once again for joining me. Until next time, I've been your host, CDB. You, of course, are not. Thanks a lot, and God bless.